Hey, you guys, it's Myles Kovacs. I'm the president, co-founder of Dub Magazine, TIS Wheels, Dropstars Wheels, philanthropist, and just a guy that likes to talk. So thanks again for joining us. Last week was our first, actually, Ask Me Anything. And thank you for everybody that participated, and thank you for all the great comments and just all the questions and everybody participating. It was a great success, so thank you for that. Last week there was some questions. I know that Zane Clark had asked about marketing to youth, and I just wanted to kind of expand on what I said last time. So it's about marketing to the youth market in terms of automotive aftermarket, which is what they're asking. And it's like, well, Dub Magazine is doing car shows and concerts, and to attract the more youthful audience, we're going after different artists that maybe hit a younger demographic. We've also done like Dub Toys, which hit a younger demographic, or the video game. So it's like hitting that particular demo through products that you can launch that are automotive-esque, right? So if you can't kind of force car culture down their throat, but if it's part of kind of their subculture or what they like, I think there's more of a chance to kind of get them on board and creating content that they actually really like a video game and things like that. I think is really cool, especially not only just for the teenagers and tweens now, but for the young 4, 5, 6-year-olds now that are going to experience life and go through it. So in 10 years from now, when they're 16, they're going to be auto enthusiasts or car fans. So I just want to kind of elaborate on that a little bit. So for Rax, this guy, welcome to the room. I had a rough day yesterday, so I want to kind of talk about that. So yesterday was, I had to go to the eye doctor to get some stitches removed from my eye. I had a cornea transplant about 9 months ago, but my vision has been, almost blind in my left eye without a contact. And so I was put a contact on for the last couple, I think about a month, and I could see really well, but it's fluctuating. So my eye shape changes constantly. And so I go from having really good vision to being nearly blind. And, right now through my left eye, I could barely kind of see my fingers when I hold them in front of my face. So it kind of tells you how rough it is. And went to the doctor, they pulled out 5 stitches, and then I had to drive home at night. And it was just like, whoa, it was kind of a slap in the face. But, now I'm going to be partially blind in my left eye for, maybe a month. So it's a little tough. So I'm going to try to read some stuff and do some things today. And, so bear with me if, my eye looks red or small. I know it's been, looking small for the last 9 months because of surgery, but hopefully it'll get better. And thank you again for being patient. Pierce Flynn, what's up? Ryan Soforex, Jamie Camarina, tell us about your life, wins, loses, and any turn back events. What keeps you going? That's a great question. So somebody was asking me about that today. It's kind of like failures and stuff like that. So I guess, going back to when I was young, what I'm saying, I got kicked out of high school. So I view that kind of was a failure in its own way. I went to continuation school, but I learned a lot about people, and I learned a lot about friends and kind of all of those things during that time. And so I took it as a negative thing, but it was actually positive. And one of the most positive things about getting kicked out of high school is I got a job, and I started working at a local rim store called Modern Auto as a delivery driver. So that helped me. So that was kind of the first negative, thing that I kind of had to overcome. And, the most difficult part about kind of getting kicked out of school is going from being the captain of the football team and really popular to like nobody calling you at all. And you're like, dude, you're not invited to the parties. You're nobody at that point. You're insignificant. So that taught me a lot going forward, to where, you just can't count on some of the people that you think are going to be there when you hit hard times, and it's happened to me multiple times. I did the music industry deal and, was making a lot of money. Everybody wanted to be my friend. And then all of a sudden I get, legal papers from Bartleman's Music Group, BMG, and this and that. And I'm getting sued potentially. And I lose all my money and lose my Rolex and my Benzes and my, Porsche, and, basically went broke. And I cried for one day, and then, got up and just started hustling again. But no one called me. Nobody was trying to check on me. So I learned twice. Getting kicked out of school, nobody called me, checked on me. when I lost that first business, nobody called and checked on me. So I just kind of realized, hey, this is the way it's going to be. So I really just focus on kind of building and creating opportunity. Even prior to doing the music stuff, I went and I was working at this company called Victoria Tire, and I created this fully chrome BMW 540 wheel. And it was the first like full chrome mesh wheel that was out there, and all the way in the windows and everything. And I went and got Crevier BMW, Sal BMW, Shelley BMW, which are all local BMW dealerships around SoCal. I think I signed like 12 of them up because of this chrome wheel. And then the chrome plater couldn't, deliver the wheel. So I ended up losing all those accounts. I ended up leaving that job. Felt like a failure. But the problem wasn't the failure. It was I was too early. They couldn't do the polishing and stuff that I wanted to do, which, 5 years later became the norm. So sometimes it's just you're just too early with different things. I also did this wheel deal called the Roadster Extreme Wheels, where I took ALT wheels that were like 5 Zegan and Sparko copies, and then I would rebox them with my own brand. And I tried to do that with a company called Roadster Wire Wheel. And we launched it, got orders, and then they backed out. So then I basically had to walk away from that like a failure. But I learned a lot, and I think it helped propel a lot of the other pre-existing brands in the business today, because I showed them that you could take a wheel that's another brand, put a new cap on it, rebox it, and sell it as yours. So it becomes a marketing play. So I did that early on. Everybody kind of did that after. So it's like, my failures become other people's opportunities, but I feel good about kind of creating the momentum. Another one would be, it was like even as a couple of years ago, relaunching the toy brand with Dub. We put it out in 2010, which was 8 years ago. And is it 8 years ago? Time flies, right? But, we're so confident that it's going to do well and this and that, and it didn't. But selling anything new, branded, unbranded, whatever, in tough economic times when it's crashing it's virtually impossible. So you have to have super deep pockets if you want to grow during the recession. And you know what? If you don't have super deep pockets, bunker down. So what I tell people is being in business during a recession is like living in Miami during a hurricane. You're better off just boarding up the windows, kind of grabbing your stuff and going and staying somewhere else for the time being until the hurricane passes, and go and really do a risk analysis. Because if you don't have the cash flow and you don't have the ability, you can't take that risk. So it's kind of like, think about that, like bunker down. I'm not saying board up the windows and leave, because it's not a hurricane, but it's like a hurricane. So you got to really focus on what you can do, cut back, really have all your resources in place, and then just kind of weather out the storm. So economic, downturns, people are like, oh, it's not going to affect my business. It affects everyone, because it's a trickle effect. If it's affecting the labor, it's going to affect the owners. It's going to affect the stores. It's going to affect the food companies, the restaurants, because everybody gets affected by the dollars being shrunk. So it's a very scary thing, and it's a tough time. And I learned so much through the 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11 years. It's, that really kind of formed my mindset going forward, as we kind of prepare for the next economic downturn. So Chad Davis is in the room, Paradise Tinting, Michael Watson. Sorry, I'm squinting a little bit. Vitz Bodyford. Who are some auto industry icons that inspire you, either in early days or now? I mean, Alberto Lopez, Sonny, the founders of Lowrider, basically we mimicked our business out of them. So they definitely inspired me. Wade Kawasaki, which is the chairman of the board, just Chuck Bloom, a lot of different SEMA people, Chris Kirsting. I mean, just, there's a lot of people out there, Peter McGilvray, then just a lot of industry icons. You got like Art Hill Sr. that owned the American Racing, Art Hill Jr. owns MHT, Kevin Fitzgerald at the time was at KMC, he's now at Method. Colby, one of my design partners that, he's doing big things at Method, and, just so many people in this industry, Carol Shelby and, Peterson Publishing and all that he's done and everything else. I mean, it's just, There's so many amazing people in this particular industry that it's just everybody influenced us, and a lot of these guys paved the way for guys like myself, you know. So it's, you know, I always kind of pay homage to that, you know, and you know, thanks for being part of the, you know, my live session here. John Lucas is in there. He said, talk about Industry Insider before Dub. So Industry Insider was a nightclub, DJ culture, party magazine that myself and a couple of my partners founded, and it was prior to Dub, and we actually founded the Cypress Hill Smokeout, and we did Festival of Soul and, you know, the House of Palooza, and just did a lot of different concerts and events and parties and stuff like that. Had a great time. We founded the Cypress Hill Smokeout. I think it was back in 1996, 97, and at one time in 1999 it was 66,000 people. It was like Rage Against the Machine, Zach De La Rocha, System of a Down, Far Side, Cypress Hill. And it was a huge concert. And, you know, it was tough walking away from something that was so successful. But I was going through my midlife crisis at the time. And it's like, you know, we're having all this success, but I felt like we had no responsibility to a certain extent because our big show turned into a pro-marijuana show. And one of my partners was like, man, we need to put weed and bongs on the flyers and do all that stuff. And, you know, at that time, it was not legal. So it was shunned upon. It was more negative. Now it's like, what, you know, everything. You can just go buy it wherever you want. But, you know, so we did that, and it weighed on us pretty hard, you know, me and some of my partners. So we eventually left and founded Dub because we wanted to do something special that had all this, you know, power with responsibility. So, you know, I mean, I was talking about that the other day. Somebody was questioning us saying, dude, you guys just put girls on cars and this and that. And I was like, if you look at Dub Magazine, we put ugly guys on the cover. Let's look at the history. We don't hire models to go do this. I mean, if you go to the Dub booths, we have ugly guys handing out flyers. You know, we don't sell sex. We sell the sexiness of the lifestyle. And, you know, granted, the Dub shows, there's a lot of hoochies at the Dub show, but guess what? They pay to get in. They pay to get in, and they're like ghetto celebrities for the day. You know, they walk around all hoochified and everything. I mean, we even tried to do a rule one year where it's like you can't wear shorts that are less than 4 inches. But if you get a big girl, 4 inches is nothing. You know what I'm saying? So we try to even do that, and that didn't really work. But, you know, just being responsible and understanding kind of the marketplace. And that's how we've been successful in partnering with companies like Procter & Gamble and, you know, PepsiCo and, you know, Anheuser-Busch and all these, you know, Fortune 50 companies along the way, because of we were cool enough to not get beat up or robbed in the hood yet. And we're corporate, you know, credible enough to have products in Walmart and Target and all the national retailers and have Fortune 50 partners. I mean, that's hard to do, but we were able to do that. And a lot of it is because we're selling sexy instead of selling sex. So Chad Davis, how come I've never done a Supercross team? A sport you love. I love Supercross and motocross. I love dirt bikes. I race and ride on the weekends. I don't have a team because I don't feel there's a value in it. Not so much that I don't value the guys that race. It's just they put little logos on bikes and you're paying X dollars, you're getting TV exposure. It's a lot for what I call not our direct consumer in the marketplace. I'd rather go and do the marketing at car shows and truck shows and things like that, or that are more endemic. But I love Supercross. I love the teams. And, you know, if we have unlimited funds, we're going to sponsor all of those teams. Ron S. Hey, Myles, got your broccoli sandwich ready. Yep, let's do it, Ron. Micah Watson, peaks and valleys. You know, life is all about peaks and valleys. I mean, you know, you're up and down. It's like I ask anybody that's never been involved with litigation, you know, that if they've ever experienced something to where one day you're kicking ass and the next day you're getting your ass kicked, because that's really what litigation, that's what being an entrepreneur is really about. It's that peak and that valley. But what I realize is that if I get my life to be a little more stable and I don't chase the peaks and chase the valleys, it's less like turbulent, because you just got to, you know, basically control your cost of living, control your expectations, control everything to where the business is ramping and then it dives. So when you go down, you're at this level, it doesn't kill you. When you go up, you're at this level and you're benefiting from it. You know, that's when you squirrel it away. That's when you reinvest in property and stocks and other things, you know. So it's like you work hard for your money, or does your money work hard for you? In order to be successful, you have to do both. Another thing you need to do in order to be successful is you need to live a hybrid lifestyle. Hybrid lifestyle has nothing to do with like a Prius. It's doing half the things you love and half the things that you hate. And you just got to do it every day, no matter what. And if you do something more than 16 times, it becomes a habit. So anything that you're having any difficulty with, try to do it at least 16 times so it becomes a habit. Then it's much easier to do and continue to follow. So look out for that. Ruben Lachunga, when's your next dub show? It's April 4th, I think it is, somewhere on there. It's in Phoenix, Arizona. I should know. Go to dubshowtour.com for the full schedule. Michael Watson, hoochified. Nice. So, looking back, somebody also asked me about like kind of, you talk about entrepreneurialism or ship or whatever it is. And it's like, I break it down in 4 different entrepreneurs, right? There's the off the couch, there's the in the game, right? Then there's there's off the couch, there's a startup, then there's the in the game, and then there's killing the game. So when I talked last week, I talked about kind of the startup, like getting off the couch, don't quit your day job until your hobby makes more money than your day job, kind of getting that ability to go out there and just start a business from scratch and just go. Then there's a startup phase. The startup phase is kind of after you kind of experience that little bit of business and you want to legitimize it to where you legal up, you do an LLC, you do this, you do all those things, right? Then you get up, then you're in the startup phase. You're looking for different opportunities. Then in the game is when you actually start making money, making moves, doing different things to progress your business and your life and look for opportunities. And then killing the game is basically just killing the game. So at that point, you're looking for exponential growth, financial help, looking to sell the business, kind of all of those things. So it's kind of like 4 different tiers of business. And each tier, it actually requires a different mindset. You got to go. But, when you're thinking about just getting off the couch, you just need the motivation and the stop blocking you to get off the couch and to really kind of, explore your dreams. And think about going to school or this or that. I mean, you could get 100 grand, 200, 300 grand in debt by going to school, but yet everybody's afraid to start a business and lose $100. It's like lose $1,000, lose 2,000, lose whatever you can to get that education so you can learn what not to do. That's the key. And just go for it, right? Don't be so risk adverse. People will say, what if somebody steals my idea? Well, it wasn't your idea to begin with. That's sent to you. So share your ideas, share everything you have. So I call it, my strategy is called Canary in the Coal Mine, where people, back in the day would send a canary bird into a coal mine to see if there's gas in there. And if the birds die, they don't go in there. So it's like a test. Well, I do that with people now, and to where it's like I go and tell them everything I'm going to do, and then they go and try to do it. So I'm watching 10 people do exactly what I'd like to do. And if they're successful, I go after it. If they're not successful, I try to learn why they weren't and try to adapt something new to attack the market. But instead of me doing it, I usually try to pump somebody up or get them to try it again. I can manage 10 people trying to do something that I want to do better than most people. And my failure track record is lower because I'm having all these people kind of do it for me. So it's all strategic, right? People look at it as weakness. I look at it as strength. But also I look at it as you're only as good as your information. So if these people are going out there and bringing information back to you, you're definitely more powerful. Ron S. Does Dub get value out of sponsorships? Doing sponsor connections for BMX Gate, now Legendary Car Racing. What floats your boat with sponsoring? That's a great question. I mean, sponsorship definitely works. It depends on how much money you have and kind of what you want to hit, what your objective is. But for us, with the minimum cash flow, just kind of really always on budget and kind of thinking in that way, you want to develop the best ROI. If you're going to put $100 into it, how much do you need to get back? And that's just it. I mean, when we first started working with big companies, it was like, here's the money. There's no metrics. We're just going to spend money and we're going to hit eyeballs. And then when the economy crashed, it was like, it's all metrics. We want to hit eyeballs. We want to hit the right eyeballs. And we want to make sure that there's transactionary sales from those eyeballs. Totally different. So we had to reprogram our home business to just getting impressions to a full ROI base. So to answer that question, it's really about the ROI. If we go out and we're not selling products based off of that sponsorship, then the value, in my opinion, is low. It's just media value. But if it actually goes and pays for itself, then we're going to continue to do that sponsorship as we go forward. So, Rich C, how has Dub evolved over the years, and where is it heading? So Dub has been out for, I think it was 18 years now, and or 19. Next year's the 20th anniversary. So 20th anniversary of Dub. So, what's cool about Dub and being 20 years old, we're retro now. So we have a marketplace that's getting older. So we're able to kind of go and do retro builds and kind of see what the market's doing out there and stuff like that. So we'll do 20th anniversary products and everything else. But we've had a similar business model throughout the whole 20 years. But we also launched Lifting Levels, which is our truck magazine. So the truck market is growing rapidly, and it's really, really successful. So what Dub's doing to stay current is social media, doing micro shows instead of just the large shows. We're doing some smaller shows. We're diversifying, doing different shows. We're adding like a street drift element into our Dub shows, which we never done before. So it's more motorsports kind of driven, right? So it's like a ghetto D1, right? Think about it that way. And then just kind of changing it up. So, we've always kind of evolved during the last 20 years, and that's kind of helped us kind of stay ahead of the curve. But is it difficult? Absolutely. We're also 20 years old. So you have all that heritage, you got all that, baggage, right? So I tell people, you got to look forward. So if you think about a business, like say, 100-year-old company, I tell them sometimes they're driving backwards using the rearview mirror, so their visibility is only this big. Where when you have a new company, they're using the whole windshield. They're just going forward. They're not trying to connect with their heritage. So Dub right now needs to really work on not connecting with the heritage, but just staying true to the culture. And I think that we've been doing a good job with that, and it's been successful so far. So, thank God, almost 20 years. Great. That's a great question. Another one would, I was talking to this guy today, and he asked me, is print dead? I'm like, well, print's not dead because we're still in business and we're still printing, and there's a lot of magazines out there. But is print dying? Absolutely. But so was 12-inch vinyl, and stuff like that, like records. And then the millennials and the younger people brought vinyl records back. So sometimes it needs to kind of go away to come back. It's almost like animals. They, when it's almost extinct, then they care. But until they're extinct, they're almost extinct. Nobody cares. So it's one of those things that I believe that on the publishing side of it, it's going to evolve and change. The good thing about Dub is we're 20 years old. So our consumers are still used to sitting on the toilet or getting on the plane or having their coffee and actually physically flipping a magazine. So I think that that's kind of helped us to a certain extent kind of stay kind of, in the print game. But we're also diversified. We have shows, we have TV, we have all these different avenues that we work on to help promote and permeate the brand. So if this publishing disappears, we're able to evolve into just a media company, and that's really what a lot of these guys are doing today. But it's a tough transition, especially if you have that older and younger audience, because the younger audience is more tech savvy than, the older audience. So, is print going to evolve or change or whatever? I mean, everything that we talk about is basically a transition. You go and it's like, for us to just kill the magazine, I don't think would be good. But how do we go and do digital magazines and put more content online and do all these other things? It's all about transition. Interesting fact, we have a wheel guide, and we wanted to do this wheel guide online, and we're going to do microsites for wheel companies and really this really cool high-tech stuff. Nobody wanted to buy in on it. Then we said, okay, we're going to do a wheel guide, but it's going to be a digital flip book, like a magazine. And then guess what? I think about 30 or 40 companies came in on it. It's like, so it's not what we want to do. It's really what the market's going to be ready for. And we can't be naive. Some people are too tech focused that they want to just, basically throw technology in their business and, think that everybody's going to adapt to it the same way that they are. It's not, it doesn't work that way. So if you have a marketplace that's kind of slow on tech, then you have to kind of babysit them and then cross them over on the tech side of it, and then again, it's no disrespect to any of the wheel companies or advertisers or anything else like that. They like certain things, and they have their own websites, they have their own social media. So, you know, not only are they coming out with their own pages, that some of them have a bigger following than we do. You know, so it's like, wow, it's, you know, there's so much opportunity now on that side of it, of the world, on the social media side or content side. I mean, it's just, it's amazing. We got Earl Manguni in there in the room. Another thing that people always ask me, again, I just got another question about like quitting your job, you know, and it's like, I said it last week, don't quit your day job until your hobby is paying you more money than your day job. Another thing is, what else can you do on the weekends or stuff like that? I mean, that you can do. You know, I know a guy that actually worked 9 to 5, did really well, and then he started a hot dog cart on the weekend, and his hot dog cart started blowing up. You know, and then he ended up leaving his day job, and he had multiple hot dog carts. He had, food trucks and stuff like that. I mean, it's just, there's tremendous opportunity, you know, when you go out there and you actually try to do something. But you could do it on your spare time. You could do it with other people's help and stuff like that. You could have your kids run the, you know, the carts, and just really figure it out, you know, kind of what the opportunity is. Armando Rodriguez, what's your goal? What's next? So there's a couple goals. My personal goal is always basically to make a difference in the world, right? That's what I want to do. I have big aspirations to go and work in other industries, whether it's tech, education, medical, aside from just automotive. You know, I love automotive, and I love cars, and I love motorcycles and things like that. But personally, I feel like there's a tremendous opportunity for me in these other, what I call untapped marketplaces that maybe are not as progressive and things like that. So I'm really excited about that. What's next? You know, constant evolution. You know, just kind of like, okay, are we going to work on potentially selling the businesses? Are we going to go and open up new opportunities? Are we going to go and do new things? Am I going to go in the medical field? Am I going to go into motocross? You know, so there's a lot of opportunities, and thank God there's a lot of options right now. So what's next? I think that right now we're going to hammer this thing out, and, you know, continue to grow it and look for these micro niches. You know, if overlanding is the next thing, then you'll see us launch an overlanding book, you know, at SEMA, which is like Jeeps with tents on it or trucks with tents on it. Or, you know, if it's the lowered slam trucks that are going to be the big thing, then we'll launch a slammed truck magazine. So it's always just kind of launching and following those trends and things like that, you know. Jennifer Hilton just joined, and she's asking, with Dub's 20th anniversary and this new Ask Myles Anything of the live streams, live shares, have you thought of having celebrity supporters of industry experts on to share their stories and with all? Yeah, absolutely. You know, so I plan on having industry experts and celebrities and a bunch of different people on there. So absolutely, you know, we're kind of getting the format down and really understanding kind of what's going on, and absolutely. And then Dub, we're going to be launching a Dub channel, and then we're going to have celebrities and, you know, guests, people, wheel companies, manufacturers, tire companies, exhaust companies, all these different people coming on the show and just really talking about their experience as well. So, you know, that's next on the horizon for us on the launch. Great question, Jen. Storm God, if you have a business opportunity that I'd like to partner with Dub, can I contact you direct? Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? We're always looking for different opportunities. So there's Shark Tank and we're Guppy Tank, right? So we're guppies, but we're looking for opportunities, and we're going to take your opportunity to the next level. So if anybody has an idea or an opportunity they want to either hook up with myself, my business partners, Dub, whatever it is, all of us, just hit us up, let us know what it is, and we'll be, you know, happy to kind of see what you have, and we'll tell you straight up if it sucks or if there's gold in those hills. And trust me, out of 20 years, we figure out how to dig, so we'll find that gold, right? Armando, that's an old one. Beverly Powell, congrats on your YouTube channel. What's been the greatest personal and professional inspirations from Star Education? Star Education's a nonprofit that I do work closely with in Los Angeles. They educate over 500,000 middle school kids a year, and they're doing phenomenal work. Over $30 million worth of earned income. Just awesome, you know. So I mean, my goal next would be to help them hit 500 billion, in revenue or something really just crazy by expanding what they do so well all over the world. And, so that's one of my dreams and my aspirations. Going back to the thing, personal and professional, I think just, not killing myself. I think that was like a big thing. I tell people, somebody told me, dude, aren't you glad you failed? And I was like, failed at what? Killing yourself. And I was just like, absolutely. I think that's one of the big things is, just that being able to learn and kind of go on. Personal, I think definitely having my kids and getting married. Yesterday was my 15th wedding anniversary with my wife. So she made it and I made it. She's not on here, so I guess I could talk crap about her today. But so lucky. I had such a busy schedule yesterday. Then I had to go to the eye doctor. They did a procedure on me. It was like an hour. Came out of there blind again, and then drove home. And, it was our anniversary. So I'm like, I think I got to take my wife out. And she's like, I don't want, just bring Chinese food home and we're just going to chill. And I ended up falling asleep while we're watching TV, and she was cool. She just leaves me on the couch, And then the other thing was getting our 2 dogs, we have Maltese dogs. Those dogs changed my life. They showed me real unconditional love and opened my heart up to where I could actually feel what my loved ones are actually trying to give me. So that made a significant difference in my life. And then, professionally, I think just continue to accomplish goals and, help people and just motivate people in the world and see what the brand that, Dub or Lift and Level or TIS or Dropstars or any of the brands and, what it means to other people. I mean, when you see people tattoo their name on their body, your name, your brand name on their body, that's crazy, right? It's like, I don't even have a Dub tattoo or any of those tattoos, but people are fanatical about our brands, and it's crazy, not only just domestically, but worldwide. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, it's a great feeling when you go to another country, get off a plane, and there's like Dub stickers on cars and, Dub stuff and this and that, and people really like it. I mean, it's amazing. John Lucas, what do you think happened to some of the earlier auto magazines that launched at the same time as Dub, and why they fell out of publication? It's a great question. I think one of it is they didn't want to do the celebrity thing because it was too difficult, but that's what kind of gave us our niche, was having the celebrities on the cover of Dub, because it's hard to manage them and just everything else. So I think that our team and ourselves have done a really good job with that. I think the other thing is we're independently published. A lot of these other books launch with big groups, and if they're not killing it, making a lot of money, or getting the resources necessary to sustain that book, it's going to disappear. I mean, Transworld Motocross, I love that book, and they just went out and stopped publishing it. So that just happened this last week, So Swap Moto Live, check it out. He just launched Swap, he's the editor-in-chief. He just launched his own motocross title. And, he's going to do a great job. He has all the connection, knows everybody. But check that out if you're into moto. Swap Moto Live on Instagram. But I think it just has to come down to, with us, aggressive ignorance. We're so aggressive and so ignorant that we're almost out of business every year 10 times, and we just keep going. And that's really what it takes, If people give up too soon, or they run it into the floor, they, what I call kick the dead horse, but we were fortunate that we didn't have to kick the dead horse. And we're fortunate enough that the hard work and kind of the motivation and the creativity all stacked up together kind of helped us overcome the adversity and everything else, So that's what I think. But had we been owned by a large publishing group, they would have killed our title already. They would have killed our business a long time ago, for sure. What do you think? Oh, Chad Davis, what do you think of the CBD craze? And is there money to be made? Yeah, absolutely. CBD craze. He's asking about like Bitcoin, marijuana. There's all huge industries, and there's a lot of people making a lot of money in there. And, I think we're a perfect candidate, both personally and business wise, to kind of work in that arena. It just comes down to focus, and it's the same thing. I walked away from Insider Magazine and the Smokeout because it turned pro marijuana. So do I want to just make money on it? I'm not really interested. That's why I don't own dispensaries or anything, which would have been pretty easy for me to get into that business. But personally, I didn't want to, and I still don't want to. I don't want to have to worry about that. And I'd rather make less money and not worry about that. CBD is a little bit different because it's, technically legal, and it has medicinal use and, all of those good things. So that's a little different, but I mean, I just kind of choose to kind of swim in my lane. If I'm going to put my effort towards something, it's probably going to be, like I said, education or medical. But, don't hate people. People are making a lot of money on those industries right now. So, Jen Hilton, love this. Make a difference. Tell us the most transformative experience you had helping someone else. Well, I think one of the things that was like the most public was probably Secret Millionaire, when my wife and I went to Watts, and we went and basically had to infiltrate ourselves in the community. And they told everybody that we were broke, and we just lost our house and our job, and somebody let us stay there, and our kids are still in Alhambra, and we're going to stay there until we could afford to bring our kids there. And there was a TV show that was on Fox. And man, these people would bring us like food and blankets and clothes. And, I was just like, oh, this is crazy, and there's such a community there. And it was just, at night, the helicopters flying around and shootings and just, I mean, it was crazy. There was shootings when we were filming the show in the park. Some guy got shot in the face, and I told my wife, watch the security. Those 4 security guards, they went after the executive producers and all them because they're the ones paying them. Like, we're left in the park when there's a shooting by ourselves, and then we all kind of ran to the van. But there was no security for us. They said it was for us. They were there for the staff, So, but having that experience and everything going there was amazing. But I didn't want to go there to, like, teach people how to give money. I really was focusing on receiving. The scariest thing about that was we had to lie to them, right? And, people don't lie. I don't like to be lied to. I mean, that's one of those things, like, you want to really get on my bad side? Like, lie to me, But we're lying to these people. And then the last day I had to tell them who I was and that I've been lying to them and this and that, and just kind of the arc of it. I thought I was going to get my ass kicked. You know what I mean? Like, literally, you walk in there and you're like, holy shit, these people are going to, like, roll me up right here in front of everybody. Like, right? I'm going to be on World Star. Like, they're going to have my ass kicked video on World Star, So it's like just kind of doing that, but going through that transformation and everything and just feeling that love, and just, it was overwhelming. I actually got out of that experience going, I don't deserve what I have. Like, it really changed my mindset as I went forward in my life and business. And on top of that, we filmed it in 2007 when everybody was making money, and it aired in 2008 when the economy's crashing. So I'm handing out $150,000 and this TV show, and then my phone's blowing up, my email's blowing up, and people are like, yo, you owe me money. Like, dude, you just gave away $150,000. You got Lambos, and you got a house with 4 waterfalls. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, I do have a lot of those things, but I'm losing everything. I'm doing different things. I'm selling stuff. I'm, basically trying to right size my life, right? Not so much losing everything, but just like really looking and saying, damn, if I continue this lifestyle and this continues to crash and I'm not savvy with my money, I'm going to be broke. So it's really making those adjustments as that came in. So that was a major kind of turning point for me at that, in doing that show. And it was definitely a life-changing experience. Tito, get Myles the tissue. John Lucas. Joe DeBono, are you franchising your dub empire into the European Union or other? We looked at the franchise model. The unfortunate thing is right now is we're not like a store to where we don't just customize cars. We're more of a marketing company. So on the franchise model, it works well with like a tint store or like a wheel store or tire store, things like that. So as part of our kind of total model, we plan on doing those types of things and doing like micro stores and stuff like that, pop-up shops, all those things, but doing it all over the world. So eventually, hopefully we can get there. We just haven't got there yet because we've been just kind of inundated with our own stuff, and we can't get out of our way sometimes with the past and kind of how we've done things and kind of the future and how we're going to do things. So it's a constant battle and constant growth. So if anybody out there wants to franchise it, just hit us up. We're definitely interested, and we definitely could do a great job with it. The next, yes, John Lucas, yes, all day dub channel. Storm God, there is a dub channel. Looking forward to the Dubcast. Absolutely. It's something we're working on now. We're going to be launching very shortly. So Dub will have its own channel, and we'll have a lot of different, celebrities, artists, entertainers, and things like that. And I'll still have my personal channel. And this is more geared towards like motivation and, business, entrepreneurs, and just kind of, looking out for what I call the little guy, right? I'm a little guy. So I just want to look out for the little guys and try to get them to peak. But I also work with corporate CEOs and major Fortune 50 companies and things like that. So I'm one of those guys that have a vast array of experience in both automotive, fashion, music, marketing, Fortune 500 packaged goods, everything else. So it's just one of those things. I've been blessed to work in all these different industries and work with so many just really talented people. Ron S., love to explore your interest in education. That's one of my lanes. Do you have a specific idea as to what you would like to do, or is it open for discussion? I mean, everything's open for discussion, Ron. As you know, we talked about this just recently about, talking to youth and doing different education programs and things like that. But I think it needs to kind of evolve. Education was founded on the Industrial Revolution, was to get people ready for working in the factories. And right now there's no factories to work in. There's some, and they're trying to resurrect them. But education, I think, needs to change and evolve. And I think that there's some very unique things that kind of myself and our team could bring to the table. And you'll see us kind of dabble in that as we go forward, and some of them hopefully will be with you, Ron, for sure. Always open for discussion. Like, Ron is asking, nothing's off the table. We're always looking for the next opportunity. If you have the next Ring camera, and you want to come and pitch it to us, and you want to get it into all the major big box retailers and stuff, we have the ability to do it. That's for sure. So come and knock on our door for sure. Michael Watson, how well do you think the aftermarket utilizes the internet and the web? I think aftermarket's doing a really good job with internet, web, and stuff like that. I mean, I think Amazon really helped kind of propel the whole online sales side of the business. Could they do a better job? Absolutely. I think what's tough about aftermarket automotive in general is usually the guys that founded the companies and stuff are ex-racers or ex-marketers, and so it's really difficult. They're not tech guys. So I'm watching some tech guys kind of jump in aftermarket, and they're doing a really good job, really, really good job. So it's kind of look at those guys and say, okay, what are they doing differently? How are they using tech? Whether it's CRM, better CRM tools, it's new technology, it's utilizing, Facebook, Instagram, this, that, SEO. I mean, it's just a culmination of all these different ways to approach that consumer today. I mean, it's an exciting opportunity, and if you look at what other industries are doing, I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, selling direct is also a huge opportunity for everybody. I think it's going to take aftermarket automotive a little bit of time, although there's a lot of companies selling direct that you don't know they're selling direct. But there's nobody like Apple to where they're going to go and just revolutionize it, sell direct, sell through Best Buy and all these other phone stores. But majority of their stuff is sold direct. I mean, it's just they revolutionized that direct to sell model, and it's been over 10 years now. I mean, it's just amazing. So, Juan Cortez, what's up? Paradise Tinting, Righteous. Juan Cortez, proud to know you. Dub Magazine when it started, for sure. John Rod, what's up? Ever think about doing another Midnight Club dub edition, or maybe Lift and Level? John, great question. It's something that we definitely want to do, and we work with, game developers and companies and stuff like that. We just haven't came out with the right opportunity, but rest assured there's going to be something coming shortly. And, Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition, I think, sold 9.6 million games. So it was really, really successful. And we definitely want to, reach out to that fan base. And thank you if you played it and you bought it. I mean, it's amazing. I was at this, and when my son was younger, we went to this camp. And it was in Lake Arrowhead or Big Bear. It's like a summer camp. And this kid said, he was probably like 8 years old. He said, I learned my mom's phone number by playing Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition. I was like, how's that? He put his phone number on the side of the car. I was like, shit, hopefully you weren't like playing other people where they could see you. You know what I'm saying? Because then you're putting your mom's number out there, you know. But that's how he said he put his number, her number on the side of the car, and he would play it every day, and he learned the mom's number by watching his car with the number on it. So I thought that was pretty cool. But absolutely, the truck version, you know, if you're a game developer and you're out there and you want to work with us, bring it. Let's do it. You know, so we've met with a lot of companies about it, just haven't came out the right deal, and maybe we're just too picky. You know, I think maybe my partner Hatham here is too picky. You know, he's over here in the room and he's too picky. We just need to let it flow a little bit, you know. So, great question. We should definitely talk, Michael. Vince Boniford, are there some emerging trends that you're seeing in automotive aftermarket, like we saw with the wheel craze, electronics? What's on the horizon? You know, right now, I think as we're, you know, getting ready to potentially go into the recession, I mean, I think that, you know, people are looking at, you know, kind of trends. But think about the early, I would say mid 80s, early to mid 90s. What was popular? You know, it was sport compact was popular, you know, Hondas and stuff like that, front wheel drive drag racing. This was before the drift thing and everything else. You know, it's kind of like on the cusp of it. Lowered trucks. Remember Trader's truck accessories was really hot. All the billet wheels, the Boyd Coddington stuff, intro. That lowered truck market's starting to, you know, really permeate. And then off-road truck. I mean, off-road trucks are hot. So it's 80s all over again. You know, 80s and early 90s. You see that also with the fashions and everything like that too. Electronics. There's a lot of electronic opportunities, but it's not like the same like car audio and things. Although I've been talking to a lot of car audio companies, and they said that a lot of people are putting big woofers and amplifiers and stuff and starting to do full systems again. So that's pretty exciting. I think, you know, a lot of it is people will do whatever it takes to be different. And if a lot of people are not going down the street bumping, then they're going to want to. If it's cameras or security or whatever it is, I think, you know, those things are super important on the electronic side. I mean, you know, imagine doing a Ring camera for your car, you know, that might be next for us. So you'll see those types of things, you know, but the market, is it ready for it? You know, are the consumers willing to do it? Do they understand it enough? You know, so a lot of it's timing, and it's also kind of taking a risk and understanding what people are looking for, you know. But definitely a lot of good trends going on and growth. But, you know, it's a little scary as we, you know, kind of lean towards this new, you know, election year. There's always usually a recession, and the next year is a recovery year. So kind of going there. So I'm kind of betting that there's going to be a stagnancy and kind of innovation for the next couple of years for sure because of the looming recession potentially. Paradise Tinting. With shop classes getting wiped out of the LA school district, many can't even change a tire. IBM and Apple have taken away the need for a college degree and various skill levels and thoughts. You know, so I mean, I'm pro education, but did I go to college? No. You know, so I don't think going to college is an excuse or not an excuse if you don't go to college. You know, I think you could be successful regardless, because you could educate yourself through YouTube and through, I mean, whatever it is. I mean, there's Columbia University professors that are putting their whole, you know, daily, you know, class online on YouTube. So I could go get a, you know, Columbia University education without paying for it. That's amazing. I mean, think about how great that is and what a great opportunity it is. So, I mean, there's not a video or information that you could get that's not online. You can't Google. I mean, you could get anything out there. So really, there's no excuse. It's sad to see all these, you know, trade courses and stuff getting wiped out of, you know, traditional schools. But I mean, the reality of it is, if they want to get into that type of role or that kind of business, they're going to have to go to a trade school. You know, it's unfortunate, but it's a sign of the times. You know, I mean, these kids can't change a tire, but they can program the crap out of computers. You know, so it's like you got to look at it. People always say, "Well, the kids are lazy." The kids are in tune with a different thing. I mean, they're not going to go out there and they don't want to figure out how to, you know, cut 3,000 miles of grass and do all that. They're going to create a machine to do it. You know, so I think that laziness sparks creativity, and they're going to go invent stuff that, I mean, the next 20 years, in probably 20 years, as far as like, AI and all this other stuff and everything. I mean, it's going to be insane what people are going to be able to achieve within the next 20 years. I mean, it's crazy. It's nuts for sure. Let's see. Paradise Tint. John Lucas says, you talk about the direct sale. What do you think is going to happen with the food industry in the next 5 to 10 years, like with Uber Eats? And, I mean, it's exactly that, it's people are going to expect delivery. So I think what's going to happen with a lot of these companies is they're going to go with like a micro delivery system, whether it's their own, they're going to create their own kind of Uber Eats, and they're going to go out and really do a great job with offering fresh food delivered to your house immediately by using hub cooking centers and stuff like that and having a full distribution. So, I mean, they're going to expect it. People expect it. I mean, I think Uber Eats and stuff does a great job, but imagine if a company that you loved had vehicles that were on the road constantly serving hot food and that were prepped and fresh and all these other things. They could built to order there in the actual vehicle outside of your house. I mean, that to me is going to be the future for sure. On-demand food in your driveway, cooking right there. So it's like having your own private chef in there, but it's going to come to you. You're seeing that now with automotive repair. They're sending people and doing full diagnostics at their house and sending vans and changing transmission oil and doing minor tune-ups, and some do major tune-ups, but it's all done at your house or your job. I mean, that's going to be the wave of the future. I mean, people just want they're going to pay for comfort. They're going to pay for people to come and, not have to fight the traffic or not have to leave their car there. I mean, it's going to be convenience, and at that point you could charge whatever you want. It's about being convenient. Talk about like, customer service. You could charge whatever you want if you're offering great service. I tell people all the time, Southwest Airlines is a great company that turned their competitive advantage into low cost, right? So what do they not offer to keep that low cost? They offer very little customer service. I mean, I'm not bagging on them, but you got to stand in line. They don't, do this. They don't cater to you like these other airlines, but they have a great price and you can't even pick your seat. I mean, they just herd you like cattle, get you in, get you out, but they're efficient because of that, because they're not offering customer service. So, think about that as business owners, or you're an entrepreneur, or you're walking through a store. What is their competitive advantage? What does Walmart do differently than Target? What does this company do differently than this? I mean, one of the things that I saw with Target for a long time, and a lot of companies caught up, is when you used to go to Target and you run your credit card, that receipt came out almost immediately. Don't you hate it when you go to a place, a restaurant or whatever, you run the card and it's like, you're like, shit, is it going to go through? Like, it's embarrassing. Then it finally comes through, you're like, oh, thank God. That was embarrassing. But at Target, you run your card, boom, instant. Now everyone's catching up with that. But, that was one of those things that I saw and I looked at. That was their competitive advantage, having that, because it made the shopping experience a better experience. So, Frex, with California changing all the new laws, how do you think it will affect all the aftermarket mom and pop shops and mags and, businesses? Great question, Ryan. I mean, I think that it's all the regulations are going to definitely change the way people do business. SEMA has the SEMA Pack, and you could go to SEMA.org and you could see, and you could actually sign up to help fight against, all of these, what I call unnecessary regulations. I mean, some are good, but some just get kind of lumped up. So they just did the new one with exhaust. And the exhaust regulation, if you actually read it, it was designed to stop motorcycle exhausts that were too loud, but it lumped up the car market in there. So it's like, somebody made a joke to me the other day. They said, California, the state where you could change your gender, but you can't change your exhaust. I mean, what is that? You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's kind of weird. But, the reality of it is there's going to be all these, things. I mean, think about like windshield wipers. So when windshield wipers first came out, it was illegal. They're called driver distraction. And then they figured out that it actually was good, and they implemented windshield wipers. Same thing with like CarPlay and all that stuff. At first, they viewed it as a driver's distraction. Now it's just coming standard in all these vehicles, and it's a normal thing. So, I think that people are looking at the regulation side of it, but what industry are they trying to regulate? They're trying to regulate the motorcycle side, but it caught in the automotive side. I know that SEMA's doing a good job to try to get that overturned. Any sense at all, you know. John Rod, let's go back. Black Revelations. Glad I caught this broadcast. Missed last week. Are you producing any apps or dub-inspired mobile games? If not, HIP. It sounded like there was. You know, like I said, we're constantly working on different, whether it's apps or mobile games and things like that. The marketplace is a little flooded, but most importantly, a lot of the great developers are all, you know, basically at capacity because there's so much stuff coming out. You know, so we're always trying to figure out kind of where the window is and kind of what the opportunity is. So, you know, definitely working on it, and we're going to get something out for sure. That's a great question. John Rod, any new toys in the works? You know, we're talking to a couple different toy companies right now to, you know, try to do some toys, but it's just unfortunate. I mean, the distribution of the toys is just, you know, it's dwindling and dwindling. So, I mean, what, you know, made us kind of help our brand and build our company and everything else is just, it's not there, you know. And I tell people, you know, I have kids, anything that creates clutter, I really don't want, you know. So I think a lot of people are kind of sharing that same mindset. So I think the digital side of it, doing downloadable vehicles that you could drive and kind of go through your own kind of worlds and kind of create all these things. I mean, you know, car-based like Fortnite game would be pretty cool with cars and, you know, some stuff like that. They could break dance around the cars and, you know, cars could fly or this or that. But, you know, it's going to definitely need to change. It's not going to be the same thing that we've done in the past for sure. I just don't see it happening. Joe DeBono, I want to personally want to thank you for last week's AMA. I watched it over and over and listened to your words, and you have helped me come out of a very dark place and gave me the ambition back to proceed. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate that, and I'm glad you got something out of it. And I follow you on Facebook too, so I'm glad you continue to inspire others as well. You know, Tim Slayton's in the building. Are you going riding Saturday? Unfortunately, I'll be in Salt Lake City this Saturday for the UCLA Pac-12 championships, watching my niece Felicia Hano on the UCLA Bruins team hopefully win the Pac-12 championship. So that's where I'll be this weekend. But, you know, definitely everybody for coming in and participating. Cesar Garcia, Twisted Metal meets Fortnite. Yep, we could definitely look at that. Definitely look at that. Going back, I was talking to somebody today about a Lamborghini story, you know, because everybody's like, oh, I want to get a Lamborghini. That's my goal. And I tell them, dude, if that's your goal, that's not a goal. That should be part of the goal. You want a Lamborghini parked in front of a nice house, in front of this, in front of a nice family. Like, don't just shoot for that Lamborghini. To me, that's not a goal. That was my goal. And then when I achieved it, I felt like I had nothing more to kind of go after. So really focus on like pushing through your goals, not to your goals, right? So push through it. Just not a Lamborghini. But I got a good Lamborghini story. So when I worked at Modern Auto, I was like probably 17 years old. And there was a customer came in, badass Lambo, Rolex, and just really decked out and, you know, jewelry and everything else. And he was like, you know, he was talking to the owner and he was talking about getting divorced and all this stuff. I'm like listening, like, this dude's getting divorced? Like, damn, you know? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to give my wife the house and this and that, and I'm just going to keep the car. And I sat there looking like, God, this dude's, is he stupid? You know, it's going to just keep the car. And, you know, I guess he was going to take some money, this and that, but he gave her the house and he gave her all the stuff. And, you know, he basically got the raw end of the deal. But he was just like, he just wanted to keep the car. So I'm like, yeah, I think this guy is dumb. You know, like, what's up with this dude? You know, then like probably 3 months later, he comes by and he still has a Lambo. And I'm like, dude, like, and he looks all happy, like happier than when he was definitely in there before. And I'm like, dude, like this dude, like, what's up? Then I started asking him, man, how's the Lambo? He goes, dude, the Lambo's awesome. You know, this and that. I said, did you ever buy a new house or anything? He said, no, I never had to. I was like, what do you mean you never had to? That wasn't part of my strategy. I kept the Lambo so I could go and just date all kinds of hot chicks. And I didn't have a house because I just stay at their house. And I'll just meet all these girls. And who wouldn't want a Lamborghini parked in their driveway or in their garage? So he would just go with the Lambo and stay at all these girls' houses. And then he would drive by these big old mansions and say, oh, there's my house. It's under construction. Because he would find the ones that are in construction. So this dude was going. And then right when girls try to figure him out, he just goes and gets another one, you know? And I'm like, this guy's not a moron. This guy's a genius, you know? This guy's on to some next level stuff. I was like, dude, like, where's my Lambo at? You know? Did I sell it already? I should have kept it, you know? But this guy's going out there and hooking up with all these hot chicks and everything else because they think he's rich. And not saying that women are gold diggers, but, you know, and hey, you know, they like a dude that has a Lambo. And he would just stay at all their girls' houses and they were happy. And they, you know, they would even cook him food and, you know, buy him presents and stuff like that. I was like, God, this guy's taking it to the next level. So my exit strategy might include a Lambo. Just don't tell my wife because she's not on here tonight, okay? So that's our secret, okay? So Julio Medina, I'm glad you could catch live. Thank you for coming on, and thank you everybody for coming on. You know what I'm saying? It's really cool. I had another conversation today with a young entrepreneur. This guy's really sharp, and you know, he has a product, and I said, what makes your product different? You know, he's like, well, it's this material or this or that and this and that, and you know, my marketing, and you know, so I told him, well, think about like a Hemi, right? Because does anybody know what a Hemi is? I'm going to give somebody an answer to answer this on the chat. Does anybody know what a VTEC is, right? So if you guys know what a Hemi is or a VTEC, a Hemi is a hemispherical head that comes on Mopar engines, okay? And it's supposed to be faster and things like that. A VTEC is similar to that. It's a, you know, VTEC, whatever, Honda engine. But what the genius about it is Mopar, right, with their Hemi, they end up putting it like a badge on all these vehicles. So it's like the new Dodge Charger with a Hemi, but it doesn't have a hemispherical head, but they say it has a Hemi engine in it. So it became that brand, and the perception of it is quality, right? It's like, bam, Hemi quality. VTEC, it's fast, it's reliable. So when he's developing his product, I said, do you have a Hemi? Do you have a VTEC? What type of proprietary technology do you have that separates yourself and gives you the competitive advantage in the marketplace? Like, what do you have? So if you have a technology or something that's out there, name it, brand it, so that it could be exclusive to you. So when your competitors are trying to shop, they'll say, does that thing have a Hemi in it? No, it doesn't. I'm the only one that has a Hemi. Bam. You close out some of the market. You know, you got to be really smart about kind of what you do. There's a lot of opportunities, again, to get your creative and competitive advantage. So really think about that. If you're in business, you're not in business, you have parts, whatever it is, think about your competitive advantage. Think about your life, your business opportunities. And it's like, what do I do the best? What do I do the best? What does my company do the best? And what do I actually do? Do I make cool shit that people want to buy? Or do I run dub and this and that, right? I try to make cool shit that people want to buy. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. David Lopez says, engine timing. You don't know. You don't know. I'm just joking. What up, David? Cesar Garcia, much like Dr. Scholl's tagline, you gelling, it's the same thing. You know, it's like you got to go and capture that name or that title. So then when you put it out, they recognize it and it comes back to you. And then when you're, again, competitors or your customers are looking for it, they're going to just come right back to you, right back to you. And it's amazing what branding and what marketing could actually do, John Lucas, well, since you're in town, Salt Lake City, 801, you know it, dude. You know I'm going to hit you up, So, but, going back to that, it's like there's a lot of different opportunities in life and in business. And it's just, again, what's your competitive advantage, kind of what you got, what's going on. I got my partner, Haytham Haddad, here. He's been helping me really produce and direct these shows and stuff like that. So thank you, bro. Thank you. He's on the mic. He ignored me last week. He didn't want to get on and talk, but let me ask you, Haytham Haddad.
Okay.
Right? What was the defining moment for you with Dub Magazine since we started this thing in your kitchen of your house, right?
Wow. Well, honestly, the best part about starting the business is kind of the run-up to starting the business.
Yeah.
It's like the most exciting part of any business is the first year.
Yeah.
Because you're doing everything first. You're doing, you're trying new things, you're doing things for the first time, you're falling on your face, you're
Yeah.
getting back up.
Yeah.
It's like the first, even just planning the business is fun.
Yeah.
You know, just talking about what you're going to do is fun. Maintaining it's a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
But really the best part about starting a business is the first part about it, the first phase.
Yeah. So it's kind of like dating, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you get excited, you know, you dress up, you know, then all that stuff's gone. Let me tell you, after you're married, I've been married for 15 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just gone.
Yeah.
It's like done. You know what I'm saying? I'm not opposed to getting married. Yeah. I think everybody should get married, right? But the bottom line is all the things that like really you know, get dressed up for, all it's not the same. It just kind of changes, you know.
Yeah.
And then keeping it going, the trials and tribulations of, you know, the business or having a girl or this and that. It's like this is a lot of work, man.
Yeah.
Somebody told me getting married was going to be so much work. I might have chickened out, you know. might have not went to the ceremony, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, just same thing with the business. You know, it's like people tell me all the time, you could have went and worked for a job, worked your way up and made X dollars a year. Why'd you go on this path? And it was because, you know, I had no other choice. I think I was just kind of forced on this path. But once you get on that path, it's addictive. It's like, wow, I could go and create something and make something and actually make money doing it. That's just, it's crazy, you know? So
Yeah.
what about, you know, talk about Haitham Haddad is the creative design genius for Dub, Lift and Leveled, all the logos and stuff like that. So let me ask you, sir, Mr. Creative Design Genius, what makes a great logo? Like what in your opinion, because I mean, you've put out some amazing logos, man. Not just because you're my partner, but you've done some awesome logos, man.
Well, for logos, it's geometry. It's a mix of geometry and just overall feel. I think it's hard to put it into words because, you know, when you're working visually, you're never speaking about it. You're never articulating it.
No.
You're always designing, and then you end up with something that you've just known your gut feels right.
Yeah.
So it's hard to articulate it, and it's the same challenge a lot of professors and instructors have when teaching design is that, you know, a lot of it's gut and a lot of it's just this kind of like talent that a lot of designers are they're predisposed to think this way.
Yeah,
They're more
for
visual.
sure.
They're more visual.
Yeah.
So when you're speaking to, you know, up and coming designers, they kind of all understand what you're trying to say.
Oh, for sure.
Because they all have it kind of built in.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot like comedy. It's a lot like, you know, it's a lot like public speaking. You just kind of have it to begin with, and then you kind of develop it further. So when it comes to the logos, it's kind of like it's one of those things. You kind of know when it's right, and you kind of know when it's done, and you know a bad logo. You kind of know it when you see it, you know.
Yeah. No, we know some bad logos.
But there's some fundamentals, you know, principles, design principles. You know, spacing and weights and curves, and just as long as you know the fundamentals, you can kind of get to that end point.
No, for sure, great stuff.
And it's also one other thing. It's when it comes to design, it's more taste than anything else.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a lot like music.
Yeah.
You know, there could be a genius at the guitar, a genius on the piano, but can they really do a punk track? Can they do a hip hop track?
Yeah.
It's all about taste.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, if they're a true musician, they could do anything.
Maybe.
That's kind of my feeling about music and stuff like that. So, you know, definitely thank you for Haitham Haddad for supporting me. Ryan says VTech opens the valves more to let more air and fuel. That makes sense, you know. XUCCO86. Speaking of marriage, I've been with my girl for 15 years. Should I marry her? Well, bro, I mean, if you haven't married her yet, maybe there's something wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, geez, you know, I don't think, I don't think there's anything new you're going to learn in 16 years that you don't already know in 15, you know? So, what I could tell you though, is when I did marry my wife, it gave her confidence, you know, not so much that it's like, it changed her, but it gave her confidence knowing that somebody, you know, that I committed to her and that I wanted her, right? That's what people want. So for you to be with your girl for 15 years and not marry her, I'm pretty sure she probably feels like maybe she's not good enough, you know, and that's a negative mindset to be in. But ask her, you know, I mean, she might not want to marry you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to understand the situation, but, you know, thank you for that question and, you know, just kind of looking at it. But, as we wind this down, is there any other questions that anybody want to ask me? You know, a lot of people are asking about, like, you know, failures and successes and stuff like that. I just sum it up to this, man, is like, you got to fail to succeed, you know, and sometimes retreat is a form of strategy. So people think being weak is like, you know, to me, weakness is there's animals out there that play dead, you know, and like a possum, they play dead and they survive. So sometimes you got to play dead. Sometimes you got to know when you're the predator or you're the prey. You have to know, you know, it's like, damn, I got to eat, or damn, I'm about to be eating. I got to get the hell out of here. You got to know those situations, and life always changes and it's constantly evolving. You know what I'm saying? So you could be the predator one day and you could be the prey the next day. So you have to understand kind of where you're at. But hope everybody really enjoyed this. This was a Q&A, second one. Joe DeBono's asking about trademarks. That's a great question. We'll end with that. So trademarks basically is, you know, kind of like your name, and then you go and trademark it, right? So it's like you own the name. But a lot of times people will come up with names that are kind of like generic or that are out there. And then when you actually do a patent trademark search, right, it's like somebody already has it. So then they go launch a company, they have a brand, then they got to change the name, all that other stuff. So do a patent trademark search at the pto.gov, and then you could hire a patent attorney to actually do a patent trademark search and run different names and things like that. It's, you know, it gets expensive, but it's well worth it. So you get your name, and always think about something that's unique, because uniqueness eventually with marketing, it becomes the holy grail, you know, and that's it. When I came out with Dub Magazine, it was just double dime, you know, it was a street term. So it's like Dub Magazine, double dime, 20-inch rims, rolling on dubs. And so we took a street term and made that into our corporate masthead, you know. But again, Dub was very clean. It was 3 letters. So you got to kind of think all of those things through when you're developing that. On the trademark side of it too, you're only as good as the money that you have to enforce your trademarks, just like a contract. So when you're going into business, you need to squirrel some money away for legal. You need to squirrel some money away for trademarks and legaling up and getting the right CPA and, you know, doing those things. But if you're off the couch, just really focus on creating your business. What is the transaction of your business? Are you selling? You're going to go and sell this pen. You're going to go buy it, and you're going to go and resell it. And you don't need a trademark or anything for those things until you're actually going to do your brand or whatever it is, right? So people could start businesses every day just by buying and selling. If you're a musician, you know, put your music out there and let people buy it. You know, put that out there. People ask me, why are you doing the live feed? And part of it is I want to drop the wall between myself and everybody out there in the world, so people could actually get to know me, so they know, damn, that dude Myles, you know what, he's pretty smart, or he's pretty stupid, or whatever. But I just want to let people know and let you guys into my life, right? And see exactly what I go through. And some of the questions are good, but I challenge you guys to ask me harder questions. I'll see you at the next one.